Well, folks, here we are. Finally starting to get things put together so I can do some vlogs on the Himalayan. And to be honest, I don't know if this is going to end up being a vlog or not, because I'm using a new microphone setup and I have no idea if this audio is going to work. But I'm going to try it out. I'm going to proceed as if everything's just fine. We'll see what happens. So you can see it's a pretty gray day, but it's fall in Ohio, and the trees are maybe just a little bit past their peak, but there's still a lot of color out here, which kind of replaces the sun. I mean, you don't get the warmth, but it kind of feels like it. And honestly, I like cold rides. I tend to run hot, so if it's also a hot and sunny day, even with my vented gear, I still get a little overheated. So I really like this this kind of crisp day, overcast, lots of color on the trees. It suits me just fine. So anyway, I did a lot of writing and hoping and dreaming and wishing for the day I'd finally get my Himalayan, but having never ridden one, you know, it was frankly, it was kind of guesswork. But I watched just about every one of the, you know, tens of thousands of videos there are out there on YouTube about the Himalayan. I looked at every piece of information I could possibly find, and I also looked at competition. I looked at KTM and various other bikes, Honda, BMW, all the normal. I mean, I knew I wanted an adventure bike, and you know, I apologize if the terminology doesn't always match up, but you know, I think of a dual sport as being like the monster bikes suitable for the Dakar Rally. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want the super tall machine that you know, it would be uncomfortable in traffic, and have a 1250cc engine, that sort of thing. I don't need all the power. I didn't want all the power. I like I think the 411 in this is pretty much perfect for me. As everybody says, you know, that everybody wants a little bit more power out of it. I'm not in that camp. I want it to be right where it is, and especially love the torque. The big advantage you get from that is that you don't have to fool around with the gears as much, which is great. You know, you're like this. I'm climbing a little bit of an incline here. Could I go down to fourth? Yeah, I could. Do I have to? Not at all. All I got to do is lay on the throttle just a little bit more, and it starts thumping and gets you right up the hill, which overall just makes for a more relaxed experience. So here's the thing. You know, I was thinking about this morning. I had to take I have a Mercedes C-Class. It's an older one. Well, not super old, but it's about, I think, 6 years old. And I had to take it in for service. I still take it to the dealer, which if I had a really good independent Benz shop around, I'd probably take it there. But as it is, we have a really nice Benz dealer here. I've worked with those people since I bought it. That is where I bought it. I got it certified pre-owned, which was an amazing program. And that's how I tend to buy my vehicles if I can help it, because I don't really want to buy new. I don't like the depreciation, and I think it's pretty amazing that you can get some of these luxury vehicles at a gigantic discount after somebody else has taken the hit from the depreciation. and you get, in some cases, and this was the case with the Mercedes when we got it, the certified warranty actually was better than the original warranty. So that may have changed since then, probably has, but I still think the certified program is really good for Mercedes. So in any case, back on topic. So here I take this, C-Class in for service, and the main reason I had to take it in was that good old Takata airbag recall. They're finally getting the parts in for Benz, and it was really funny. They started sending me emails and letters saying, hey, we have the part, you got to schedule this. So I did. I scheduled it right away because it is a safety issue, but I've been driving that car forever. The car's been around for a long time. The tone of their letters and emails was hilarious, because they basically were saying, if you don't do this now, you're probably going to die. All right, well, thanks, but how many years did it take you to do this? So you're just saying I've been gambling with my life the entire time I've owned this car? That doesn't feel real good. Anyway, took it in, and I had some regular maintenance done on it as well. And it's getting to the point where I'm getting interested in looking at the next thing. I want to probably trade that car in a couple of months. Although right now with pandemic, I don't really drive much at all, so I'm not in a hurry. I have the luxury of being able to kind of wait around, figure out what I want to do. So one of the cars I'm most interested in is an S-Class, somewhere around the 2017 range. I think they did a nice job with design on that. There's several things about it that I really like, but they don't have any inventory there. They have one S-Class that's certified, and it's a 2020. It's low miles, whatever, but it's nearly the cost of a new one. It's really just like I would not do that, nor could I do that. I don't really, it doesn't fit what I want. So anyway, I got to thinking about it, primarily because of the loaner they gave me while they were doing the work. They gave me a GLA, which, if you're not familiar, is Mercedes for RAV4. And that's not to knock RAV4 too much. I owned a RAV4 for a short time. This was quite a while ago, but like, I gotta tell you, those cars are terrible. That GLA, yeah, you get in it and it has like fancy lighting and the entire dashboard is a screen, blah blah blah. In my mind, that is not a good thing. First of all, one of these days that screen's gonna fail, and as soon as it does, you don't have a speedometer anymore. You don't have any information. That entire thing basically runs the whole vehicle, and without any sort of analog backup or an analog gauge to begin with, you're kind of done for. Okay, but that's beside the point. A lot of cars are doing that these days. I guess we're just not going to get away from it. The problem is, the car is loud, it's plasticky. This thing had like 5 miles on it. I mean, it was brand new, loaner, and there were all these strange squeaky noises that kept happening when I would hit a bump, coming from what seemed to be the driver's door hinge area. I don't know. The tire noise that translated into the cabin area was disturbingly loud. And the whole point of a Mercedes before, at any level really, was you would buy it, and if you got a C-Class, it's not like, I mean, I'm talking, you go back a ways, like the old 190Es. I used to have one of those too, and I loved it. I had it, by the way, I bought it when it had 315,000 miles on it. Thank you very much. And it took me another 20,000 miles during my ownership, which was great. So you could buy one, and it had the flavor of the bigger Mercedes. It had the stance, the feel, the material quality of its bigger cousins, right? So it's not like you were going down a step. Well, now what they've done, and it's evident with this, not only is GLA, but I've also had other loaners from them. C-Class, E-Class, and the GLA are the three that I've had over the last several years whenever I took it in. And the feel is pretty much the same. The E-Class was marginally better, but the C-Class and the GLA, like, there is absolutely no reason to spend Mercedes money on those. What bothers me is there's absolutely nothing else out there. I mean, it's just terrible. The situation with cars these days is so depressing. There's really nobody I can't think of a car company now that is producing vehicles in a way that Mercedes used to, which is to say that Mercedes used to let their engineers design the cars. I mean, shocking concept. And then they would build a shell around it that also looked good. But you could tell at the root of it, it was definitely an engineer's vehicle, you know. They used materials that weren't going to fall apart. They used sorry about that. They used not just materials that were superior, but the way they were put together just had a better feel to it. So anyway, here we are, 2020, and I'm in a Mercedes that I'm thoroughly disappointed with. It's just sad. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I still think, yeah, I mean, the 2017 era S-Class, they're nice looking cars. What appeals to me about it, one of the things is, well, first of all, size. I like bigger cars. Although I have a C-Class, I'm ready for something with a little more space. But I also like the quiet, and that is supposed to be, at the time, I think when it came out, I think it was the quietest car produced. That may have been outdone by the Rolls-Royce flagship model, and that's quite possible. I would kind of hope so, since it costs over 3 times as much, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't know. It's bad because I feel like people who want quality cars, that not just quality in the modern sense of will it continue to get you from A to B without too much trouble over the duration of a lease term, because I think that's kind of how people think of things now. It's all temporary, like, well, I'm getting this car, I'm gonna have it for 2 years, and then I'm trading it on the next one, so what do they care? And it's mostly because that next one, so to speak, is the next stage in technology. You know, whatever's gonna hook up to their phone better or whatever. So why am I talking about cars? I mean, this is all supposed to be about coffee and motorcycles, right? The reason I bring all that up, it's a long way around to ultimately the point of saying that the Himalayan to me honestly feels like that older Mercedes. It feels like the ones that, like, let's say the Mercedes of perhaps the mid to late 80s, early 90s. That are still being used as taxis in desert countries, in, you know, North Africa, Middle East. You know, I worked with somebody from Uganda over a summer quite a while ago, and he said, you know, because I had mentioned that my favorite car at the time was a Mercedes, and actually it was that 190E that I had over 300,000 miles on it. And he said, you know, it's funny to see in America what people think about Mercedes and how it's treated here. That it's treated like a pure luxury vehicle, and it's only for the elite. And he just couldn't get over that, because it's not that it wasn't a good car or anything to the Ugandans, but it was just a workhorse. It was more like a tractor, and it basically, you could drive anywhere and get any part you needed to repair your Mercedes, because they were so ubiquitous, and because they were so reliable. No matter the conditions, no matter, you know, it just didn't matter. You could do anything you want with those cars, and you would end up getting to your destination. So right now, I think that's the role that's being played by the Himalayan in India. And sure, there were the earlier videos that people would post about some issues. I don't know. There were some issues with the frames, and gotta be careful on this wet brick here. Beautiful area. I'm in Kent, Ohio, by the way, home of my university, Kent State. So what's so fun, I think, about this bike is the price point. To get into a bike that's this capable, feels this good, it just feels good all around, and it looks fantastic, and not because it's following all of the plastic clad giants that came before it. There's something that this bike has, and I'll call it character, because I don't know what else to call it, that is such I hate, it's new. It's almost a new concept, because it hasn't been done in so long, in my opinion. I'm not a Harley guy. I'm not a I don't know, those kind of bikes don't really appeal to me. It's fine. I mean, I know there's a big appeal, obviously, worldwide for those, although they're no longer going to be able to get them in India, apparently. I don't know, there's so many bikes that just don't appeal to me in the same way, but I think for this one to be so full of character and spunk, I think it's pretty fantastic. So anyway, right now, because I'm close to one of my favorite coffee places, gonna go ahead and put in a curbside order with them. Alright, it's 10 o'clock. I've already passed by the coffee shop actually. When I did a loop earlier, I realized that I hadn't placed my order yet. I think right now they've got kind of limited space out front of their shop, and they're doing such a great job. They don't have a normal kind of drive-through situation, so I don't like to clog up their system by waiting until I get there to place an order. So I've now placed my order. I have a couple minutes before I need to go pick it up. And here's Ken. Alright, so back on the topic. I ordered this bike because I think it's something special. And so far, all of my riding experience has led me to believe that that is definitely true. I don't know if this guy doesn't know that that's not a parking spot. I'm heading out if you need to park.
No, I just have to drop
okay.
things off.
All right. Get a shot of the old train station there. It's been a few different restaurants over the years. I haven't been to it in quite a while. I think it's now a different restaurant than it was last time I was there. But I love when they change old train stations into restaurants. I think that is so cool. So what have I done to the Himalayan so far? I haven't had it that long. I actually started ordering accessories before I got it, knowing that it was coming in. I had it on pre-order, and I had a decent idea of what I wanted to put on. The first one would be something to mount my phone or GPS to outside of putting it on the handlebars. So I know there's not a lot of level space on these bars. Didn't necessarily want to change out the bars until I got a feel for them and decide whether or not they're right for me. By the way, here is Bent Tree. Still have a couple of minutes. Wonderful, wonderful place. Great coffee, good people, small batch roaster. They've actually started selling in the grocery stores, which I think is at least a local chain, which is pretty cool. And I don't know, I'm imagining they do all that roasting there at their small facility, but I don't know for sure. That perhaps they've contracted out to someone else to do it for them on the larger scale, but they do it to their specs. I really don't know. It's a question I'm going to have to ask them sometime. So anyway, Enfield Accessories out of the UK. They're responsible for this, which has the charging port, two charging ports, two different amp levels. It is powered with a separate on-off switch here that is obviously protected from weather. There's some carbon fiber integrated into it. Okay, so overall, I love the design. I like the fact that they put some branding in on it, and there's some nice features about it. The wiring I thought was it was okay. It would have been nice if they used maybe just a little bit heavier gauge. This was like hair thin, and it also didn't come with ring terminals, which, I mean, I have some, so that's fine, but not everybody's going to have them. So they would get this thing and want to install it, and they're left with the choice of either just bending the soldered tip of the braided wire, or the twisted the strands, bending those around the battery terminal and screwing it down. That doesn't feel great. So a ring terminal is really the best way to go. So I'm not sure what the motivation was there. Maybe they thought of this as something you'd be putting into a larger bank of accessories, some kind of accessory manager. Not sure. But anyway, overall I like the design. Here's the thing that troubles me with it. All right, you can even see just sitting here it's shaking, and that's not because the Himalayan has a lot of vibration. This thing is super smooth. It's vibrating because it has a single mounting point. You take the instrument cluster not completely off, or at least you don't have to disconnect the wires, but you got to take the windshield off, and then you take there's 3 nuts on the back side of this, and you take those off and you slip the instrument cluster out, and then this mounts to one of the threaded posts in the back. So again, that's one anchor point for whatever you're going to mount to this thing. It's not sufficient. Second problem, it's not the right shape. See this foam tape I have on here? I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, but the reason that's there is because I had to grind off part of this mount to get it to sit on here somewhat vertically. It doesn't, as is, it's cocked off to the side like this. If you just put it in, install it as it comes from the factory. It just, and that drives me nuts. And I'm not even that OCD, but my goodness, if it was my wife's bike, she'd be triggered so much she wouldn't be able to ride. It would just be so distracting, and I don't blame her. It was driving me nuts, and I'm not even quite as particular about those things. So that's not great. However, the rock form is super awesome. Now here's my thing with this. Very, very sturdy. I have no question in my mind that this thing is going to stay on there. All of that's not even a question. Here's the thing though, the case, I was using I use a wireless charger, right? And it won't work with this because of this gigantic magnet in the back. I don't know if that's gonna, it might be different with the new iPhones. I'll find out soon. I'm getting a 12 at some point here because this one's getting fairly old. So as I say how easy this is, I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting it on. But all right, so anyway, I want to be able to put it on a wireless charger while still in the case, because the case is a tight fit. I don't want to pop that thing on and off every time I want to charge it. It takes away the whole convenience factor of having wireless charging in the first place, which is annoying. So I did the handguards. Handguards were early on. I knew it was going to get chilly. Wanted to have those come in. I'm going to get into the discussion about where and how to get these things without having to pay the huge markup in a lot of the places you could get it in the States. The short story: order it from India. Get it from an eBay seller that has free shipping. There's so many of those to choose from, and just look for one that has 100% satisfaction for customers, 100% positive ratings. I was floored by the service. They were lightning fast. It just, I was astounded. It really, I don't even know how they do it, honestly. And this is not the big thing I ordered from India. I actually got my panniers and racks from India. So I'll get into that story later. Right now, I'm going to go pick up my coffee. But I'm going to shut off the camera for now while I'm doing that. So, see you guys in a little bit.